Hello, and welcome to the Leap Lounge podcast. I'm your host, Joan Russell, a change coach and transformation strategist here to help you turn life's big changes into powerful growth. The Leap Lounge is both an in person and online support squad for people ready to take bold leaps, whether in life, career, or purpose. If you're standing at the edge of something new and wondering, what's next? You're in the right place. Are you ready to leap into the unknown? Let's go. Hello, and welcome to an episode of the Leap Lounge. I'm Joan Russell. I'm a change coach and founder of Intuitive North and the Leap Lounge, and I'm here today to talk about things that we need to normalize. You might see me looking down because I have notes on this. Because when I first started my business, I had no idea what I was doing. And when you're starting something new, you probably have no idea what you're doing either. But we've been conditioned to believe that we need to be experts before we can do something. We're supposed to be experts. Okay, where did we get the training? Where did we get the thing? How do we know what we're doing? In the beginning, when you're trying anything new, you know what you are? You're a beginner. That's why it's called the beginning. And so you have to learn. And think back to when you got out of college and you were just in your first job and they have things called, entry level or internships where you're expected to be there learning. But when you decide to start your own business, that's when it gets weird and people expect you to automatically be an expert. An expert in what? Well, if you're starting your own business, then you need to be an expert in marketing. You need to be an expert in accounting. You need to be an expert in your field of expertise. You need to be a thought leader. You need to go viral. You need to get it right the first time. You need to always be making revenue at the numbers that you want to be at. You need to always be on. You need to always be your future self. You need to always be. It's exhausting because if you are a solopreneur and you don't have support, then you have to learn how to do all of these things. You have to learn about things like, social media platforms or how to do a podcast or, wait, I'm expected to speak in front of how many people and do what? You need to know how to pitch. You need to know an elevator speech. I mean, it's a lot. So that's why I wanted to spend this episode talking about things to normalize because I've been talking to so many people who are just like, well, I'm supposed to know how to do that. Or they're really, really fearful because they don't know what they're doing. And I'm going to put the meme up in a corner over here. But it's like, the dog who's typing on a computer with, I have no idea what I'm doing. And you know what? Confess you don't know what you're doing because not all of us do. After you learn and after you start doing things more consistently and then you see how things respond and you choose which directions to go in and you iterate, then that's when you become an expert. You may not be an expert now, but if you keep going, you will be. So having a beginner's mindset is the first thing that I want to normalize because once you're starting out, you need to have that. You need to have that curiosity. You need to have that learning. You need to have a passion for what you want to do and what you want to learn because without that passion and without having a very, very deep why you're doing something, it may not last very long. It may not last. So coming in with a beginner's mindset instead of, excuse me, pardon me, I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm an expert here. It's a game changer when it comes to longevity, learning, growth, and also creating relationships. Because if you're coming in completely as the expert, yeah, people are going to hire you for that. But it doesn't mean you have authenticity that goes along with it. And that's where I want to go to number 2 is not getting it right the first time. Because a lot of times when you leap, when you launch something, you have to test and you have to iterate and you have to play around with stuff. If you go in saying, I'm going to do this thing, this one thing, this is all I'm going to do, it may not work. especially if you haven't done things like ask people if it's something that they would like to buy, for example, or if you are learning how to get healthy and you say, I'm going to quit smoking now, and you just do it and don't have support in any way, it's probably not going to work. So you may not get it right the first time. You may, as in the case of quitting smoking, relapse numerous times. In the case of starting a business, you may have one product and it fails, and then you try something else and you try something else, or you outgrow it. Iterating, creating benchmarks, having reporting systems, having, like, one of the things I have is I have an event report that I fill out after each event for what went right, what didn't go right, what I'd like to do next time, how's the venue, how many people came out, things like that. So I'd like to normalize not getting it right the first time. I'd really like to normalize not getting it going viral. Because back in like 2020, it seemed like everybody and their brother went viral because all of a sudden everyone was at home and everyone was on social media and there weren't as many people on social media. Now we've got AI competition. Everybody and their brother has a podcast. I mean, hello, I have one even. Psst, who gave me a podcast? Oh, wait, I decided to do that. Anyway, here I am in a studio. It's mind-boggling to me because 2 months ago, I would never have expected this. But you may not go viral. I'm just going to say it because your content doesn't appeal to everybody. But your content appeals to somebody. For all of us, there's always somebody watching your content. Even if you feel like you're getting zeros, there's always somebody watching. And it's really funny because I've been getting very down on myself from not having a lot of response to my content lately. And then somebody I know reached out to me asking me to be on their podcast, for example. And I went, wait, I haven't seen you like any of my stuff. And you're asking me? This is great. Just because nobody's liking your stuff doesn't mean they're not watching it. It doesn't mean they're not watching it. And about going viral, have any of your friends gone viral? If they have gone viral, ask them how that went for them. Because I have friends who have gone viral for maybe not the right reasons, and it's been horrific. There's been doxing. There's been awful things that have happened. And I've had friends who've gone viral for the right reasons, and it's been horrific. There's been doxing. So be careful what you wish for. Along with, does going viral mean sales? Does going viral equate sales? Does going viral equate getting that goal that you're going after? Think about that for a second. I want to normalize having ups and downs. Life is a roller coaster ride. Sometimes you're going to be going up and you're going to be like, God, this is kind of torturous and slow and it's not great. And all of a sudden you're going down going, hey, this is the ride of my life. I love this. It's not going to be steady sailing. Life is going to have ups and downs. And if you're in a leap, you're already going on a leap of faith. Sometimes you're going to go down at first. But if you actually have support, if you have help, if you have people that are friends of yours, if you have people you can get feedback from, if you're actively in action and working what you're supposed to be working, whether that's for health, whether that's for relationships, whether that's for business, whether that's for whatever your leap is, you need to have faith that it's going to work out. And you're going to have your ups and downs. Which brings me to a down moment. You threw an event and nobody came. Before I started doing Intuitive North, before I started doing my business part-time, even as a side hustle, I had gotten really, really sick and almost died at one point. And this was during the pandemic. And once I got better and healed, I had moved to a new location, a new city, and I didn't know anybody here. Nobody. Zero. So I went out to meetups to meet new friends, and I did. And I got to meet some people, and I got to discover what I like and what I don't like in a meetup. So I decided to start my own group. It's called Adventures in San Diego. And by doing that, it helped me learn about how to do events. And it also helped me learn that Having nobody's show up happens. The example, God, I have so many examples of how many times I've had events and crashed and failed. The first event, there were 2 people at it, and that was great because I didn't expect anybody there, and halfway through it, it was, dinner and music, and halfway through, there was an intermission on the music side, and there was a guy there, and a male and female, and we didn't know each other at all, and the male started talking politics, and he was very, very hard right wing, and he was very, very racist. We're just going to say that. And it was my first meetup ever. I had no idea what to do, and he was just, quite honestly, a pretty awful human being. So the other lady said, "I have to leave. I can't deal with this toxicity." And I'm hosting, so I just looked at him and I said, "Well, why are you doing this? Why are you talking things like this?" And he goes, "Because I can." I went home that night. And I said to myself, "I don't know if I'm cut out for this. I don't know if I can do this." And I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I wrote out guidelines. That gave me an opportunity to write out guidelines and to set the tone for my meetup group and what I wanted it to be. Subsequently, I had more events and they kept growing and growing. And then Thanksgiving happens and I have a Thanksgiving dinner and there's 10 people RSVP'd and that's awesome. One person showed up. And that person is still a friend of mine to this day. So when you don't have people show up, it doesn't mean that you've done something wrong. It just means that something else is coming. And that's why I want to get into something called the void, because there's been a lot of things going on right now. And in the middle of summer, it is August of 2025 right now. Myself and many other entrepreneurs I've found have been going through something called the void right now. And I don't know what else to call it. There's probably a name for it, but an example is with my business, April. Boom, I'm hitting my numbers. May. Boom, I'm hitting my numbers. March. Boom, I'm hitting my numbers. June. Nothing. July. And it was just like time stopped. Everything stopped working. Everything. Social media, events, you name it. It just stopped working. And what I've discovered through this void is that this is the quiet before what happens next. It's not going to be quiet forever. So what you do with your void is important. And how you choose to spend your time in the void is important because this is the time when you're planting seeds. Now, whether that void is like when I was sick and almost died, I had the biggest changes in my life coming out of that sickness. It's not over until it's over. And you get to choose when that is. Sometimes, yeah, maybe it is worthwhile to walk away, like a horrible relationship or something that's no longer aligned to your values. But if it's something that you still deeply, deeply desire, and it's something that you have a strong why for, continue taking those steps forward, even if they're tiny, even if they're little baby steps, even if it just means optimizing one system or choosing a different workout or thinking about what's possible and what your future self would want you to do right now. The void is a place of space and quiet and possibility. And once you get out of it, you're going to grow. This is how change happens, is by being consistent and working through and continuing onwards. Because if you quit doing something that you love and that you feel is something that you want to continue doing, nothing's going to stop you. So these are some things that I wanted to normalize. I would love to hear from you what else you think we need to normalize. We normalized not knowing what you're doing and having a beginner's mindset, not getting it right the first time, and creating benchmarks, not going viral. and asking your friends who've gone viral how that worked out for them. And does it bring in business, or does it bring in love, or does it bring in relationships, or does it bring in what you desire going viral? Having ups and downs in life, in everything. Nobody coming to an event or a party that you hold. And then the void. Let me know. I'd love to hear your feedback. In the meantime, if you're interested in working with me, I do one-on-one coaching. Also, the Leap Lounge is an in-person event that's held every other week here in San Diego. We have the podcast here and soon an online membership portal. So I hope you'll join me in other ways, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for being here. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining us at the Leap Lounge today. Please be sure to like and follow us. To find out more about the Leap Lounge, visit us online. Go to theleaplounge.com. Have a great day. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.